What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the video. In this one, we've got some pretty big news about Mullen, short interest, cost to borrow, and a few different things that I'm finding that are pretty important. So if you do enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Let's go ahead and just get straight into it. So right now, Mullen has been on a very big uptrend, trading for 36 cents right now. I mean, over the past 5 days alone, the stock is up 58%. The past month, it's up 80%. We're seeing a huge uptrend in price. Right now, it's got a market cap of $588 million with some pretty high average volume at 202 million. But let's go ahead and get into the interesting stuff. So what I kind of noticed was some short interest stuff that I'm finding on Fintel and StockGrid, some dark pool information. So first up, the short shares available is back to zero. You know, it was zero, and that's whenever it kind of got a lot of short shares available, and that's when we saw this cost to borrow start to decrease. You know, we're from 742% on the 3rd to 116% today. And I believe that this borrow fee rate will increase as long as the short shares available stays at zero. It's kind of how the basics of supply and demands work. But I would not be too concerned about the cost to borrow dropping this much. That is still a very high fee rate, and I don't necessarily think it means that all short positions have covered. I mean, we're seeing that all short positions haven't covered. There's zero short shares available right now. So I want to show you a little bit more on what I found on this dark pool data. So just looking at Mullen, you know, the key things that I wanted to point out was the net short volume in the position. So to kind of give you a base overview of what these are, the net short volume is just for the past day, the short volume minus the buy volume, and the position is the sum of that net short volume over the last 20 trading days. So short volume minus buy volume. Just to give you a visual, short volume minus buy volume equals net short volume. If it was a positive short volume minus 5, that's positive 5, okay? So a ton of short volume, if it's a ton of short volume, I'm trying to explain this. If it's a ton of short volume, it's going to lead to a positive number. Now, if there's more buying volume than short volume, it's going to be a negative number. So if we look on the numbers, the past day, there was more buying volume. But over the past 20 trading days, it's been pretty much 62 million more in short volume than there has been in buying volume. So that means there's a lot of people short in the stock, and the squeeze is potentially there. You know, I do believe Mullen is a good company. You know, I think that the things that they're doing is pretty good. They've got some very big catalysts coming up over the next year. But if short sellers are going to come in and cause the stock to squeeze, there's really nothing we can do to control it. So I'm just giving you all that information. This is something that I would keep in mind, especially being invested into Mullen. But I want to show you a lot more on Mullen. So first up, traders purchased large volume of Mullen call options. You know, traders acquired the option trading on Tuesday. Traders got 46,000 call options on the stock. That's an increase of approximately 105% compared to the typical volume of 22,000. So people have a bullish outlook. There also is that bearish outlook just because of how much people are short selling the stock. You know, if I just show you real quick, here it is right here. Is a short squeeze in Mullen about to begin? Mullen short interest is as high as 45% on some sites. The cost of borrowing is skyrocketing as bulls hold tight and bears search for shares to short. And the charts are very bullish and need a single catalyst to ignite a rally. And going through this whole article would kind of, I don't want to say it'd be a waste of time, but it's just the key points is all we really need to know. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about Mullen. Mullen is making big moves in price trends while we're seeing other EV stocks like Lucid or Tesla just fall and plummet. So yesterday we saw Tesla, you know, they had delivered some estimates and investors weren't that fond of it. So Mullen finished the day higher by 12%. Mullen stockholders have a lot to look forward to this year, including the start of production of the 5. So just some key highlights I got from this. The cost to borrow fee did go up more than 8,000% when it hit 742%. From 8.55% in December. That's a very big increase, and this increase in stock borrow rates may force squeeze some short sellers into closing their positions. Pretty interesting. As of December 15th, the short interest was 43.5%. With a rising cost to borrow, these short sellers may be covering their positions by buying shares of Mullen. Could be a reason why we're seeing some increase in price, but I don't think this is near to how much we could see it continue to go up if we see more people closing positions and just genuinely investors buying into the stock as they see potential and catalysts coming into this company. You know, we've got a lot to look forward this year. Last month, Mullen announced it received an order agreement from Randy Marion worth about $200 million. And on top of that, production of the highly anticipated 5 is expected to begin in the 4th quarter of this year, which is just another big catalyst, a long-term outlook that could drag investors in time over time. You know, we've got time until this fourth quarter. So this will be very big to see. I do believe in the potential. You know, remember, just because I believe in something does not mean you need to go out and buy all the shares of Mullen. Be smart with your money, only risk what you're willing to invest and what you're willing to lose. But let's go ahead and show a little bit more. So there's this cost to borrow. Mullen stock falls 80% overnight. Is this a big concern? I mean, the stock cost to borrow fee rate from 8.55% December to still 116.87%. With the short shares being at zero, I do believe that this number will increase. It's still up 1,267%. That's a very big increase, okay? Like, that's a massive increase. Still a very, very high cost to borrow fee rate. These short sellers are kind of just taking a beating with these borrow fee rates. So to show you lastly, this is what I found on Twitter. Mullen, look at this at Ortex. I look at this as the real cost to borrow. Cost to borrow average about 605%. 1.01 thousand is the maximum cost to borrow. We're seeing a lot of numbers, and this is just indicating that short sellers are taking a beating, and it seems like they can't take it this much longer. So we're going to continue to watch how this goes. You know, time will tell. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you do not miss out on any of my future content. Thank you for making it to the end of this one. And check out the links down below for some free stocks and free money. Get it while you can. And I will see you at the next video.